In a world where kingdoms rise and fall, where ancient powers sleep beneath the mountains, and shadows stretch from the east, one small creature carries the fate of all. In his hand lies a ring, simple in shape, yet forged in the fires of darkness to rule all life. From the laughter of the Shire to the thunder of war, this is the story of courage born in unlikely hearts. It is the tale of friendship stronger than fear, of sacrifice that outshines power, and of a journey that begins with a single step but leads into legend. This is the Fellowship of the Ring. The Fellowship of the Ring, Book 1. In the peaceful and rolling hills of the Shire, time seems to move slower than anywhere else in Middle-earth. The air is always fragrant with pipe smoke and freshly baked bread, and the hobbits who live there are content with gardens, meals, and gossip. They have no use for adventures, which are considered troublesome and unpredictable. Yet among them lives Bilbo Baggins, a peculiar hobbit with a past full of mystery. Years ago, he went on an adventure that brought him treasure, stories, and a small golden ring that he keeps secret. It is this tiny object, so ordinary in appearance, that will soon stir the foundations of peace itself. Chapter 1. A long-expected party. Bilbo Baggins is turning 111 years old, and intends to celebrate it in grand fashion. The Shire buzzes with excitement as preparations for the party take over Hobbiton. Gandalf the Grey, the wandering wizard known for his fireworks and wisdom, returns for the occasion, filling the skies with colors and light. The party becomes a legend of laughter, music, and feasting. Yet amid the celebration, Bilbo is restless. He feels the pull of something beyond comfort, the desire to leave quietly, to escape the weight of years. With a sly smile, he announces his farewell speech, puts on his magic ring, and vanishes before the crowd's astonished eyes. Back in Bag End, Gandalf confronts him. The ring, Bilbo's precious, clings to him more tightly than he admits. Their conversation turns tense as Bilbo struggles to let go. Finally, with Gandalf's stern yet kind insistence, he leaves both Bag End and the ring to his nephew, Frodo Baggins, and disappears into the night to seek peace and adventure once more. Chapter 2. The Shadow of the Past. Years pass in tranquility until Gandalf returns with grim tidings. He has discovered the truth about Bilbo's ring. It is no simple trinket of invisibility, but the one ring forged by Sauron himself, the Dark Lord of Mordor. The ring contains part of Sauron's own malice and will, a weapon to enslave the world. Frodo listens in horror as Gandalf recounts the tale of the Rings of Power and the fall of Sauron. When they throw the ring into the fire, it reveals its inscription, the black script of Mordor, a curse and a promise. Gandalf warns that servants of the Dark Lord are already abroad, hunting the ring. There is only one way to keep the Shire safe. Frodo must leave. In this moment, the simple hobbit life ends. The shadow has found them. And so, with his loyal gardener Samwise Gamgee, caught eavesdropping but steadfast in loyalty, Frodo prepares to leave everything behind. Chapter 3. 3 is company. Frodo's departure is cloaked in secrecy. Pretending to move to a small house in Buckland, he leaves Bag End behind, taking only essentials. Sam and his friend Pippin join him, and their spirits are light at first. The road is filled with songs and the scent of autumn. But as they travel, unease begins to grow. Strange figures are seen on the road, dark riders who sniff the air and send chills down their spines. They hide under trees, hearts pounding, as a cloaked horseman stops nearby. The peace of a Shire has vanished. Farmer Maggot helps them cross safely, and his earthy courage shows that even ordinary folk can resist the darkness. The journey has turned from a cheerful outing into a silent flight. Chapter 4. A shortcut to mushrooms. Seeking safety, Frodo leads his friends through the fields and woods, hoping to avoid notice. But danger follows closely. They take a shortcut to Farmer Maggot's farm, where the old farmer welcomes them with suspicion that quickly turns to kindness. He recalls his own run-ins with the Black Riders and offers them passage to the ferry across the Brandywine River. The darkness grows behind them. The riders' pursuit feels like a storm gathering at their backs. When they finally cross the water and see the lights of Buckland, they feel for the first time that they have truly left the Shire behind. Chapter 5. A Conspiracy Unmasked. At Crickhollow, Frodo discovers that his closest friends, Merry, Pippin, and Fatty Bolger, already know about the ring. They reveal that they've long suspected something strange and have prepared to help him. Their loyalty is unshakable. The revelation transforms Frodo's journey from solitary duty into a shared bond. He realizes that he does not bear this burden alone. Together they plan to venture beyond Buckland into the mysterious Old Forest, a place whispered about with fear. Chapter 6: The Old Forest. The Old Forest is unlike any place they've ever seen. The trees seem alive, aware, watchful, and angry. Branches close above them like bars, paths twist and change. The air grows heavy and oppressive as if the forest itself wishes to trap them. They wander helplessly until they reach the Withywindle Valley, where a great willow tree lulls them into sleep. But the tree is malevolent. Its roots entangle Merry and Pippin, drawing them into its trunk. Frodo and Sam, desperate, cry for help, and from the woods comes a strange song. Tom Bombadil appears, bright blue, yellow-booted, and brimming with laughter. With a word and a song, he commands the willow to release them. His carefree power and cheer break the forest spell, and the hobbits follow him to his home. Chapter 7: In the House of Tom Bombadil. Tom's house is a refuge of warmth and peace. His wife, Goldberry, fills the rooms with song and light. The hobbits eat, rest, and feel safe for the first time since leaving home. In Tom's presence, the ring seems powerless. When Frodo puts it on, Tom still sees him and laughs. He is untouched by its corruption, a being beyond the reach of Sauron's will. They learn that Tom is ancient, older than the first trees, and utterly content within his small realm. Yet they cannot remain. Tom's laughter cannot shield them forever. With renewed strength, they set out once again into the world of shadows. Chapter 8: Fog on the Barrow Downs. The hobbits wander across the misty Barrow Downs, where the land itself seems steeped in old memories of kings and wars. The fog thickens until they lose sight of one another. Frodo wakes inside a cold barrow, his friends lying pale beside him, dressed in ancient grave clothes, a sword laid across their throats. Terror grips him. In that icy darkness, he remembers Tom's song and cries out. His call echoes, and suddenly light bursts through the tomb. Tom Bombadil arrives, singing and laughing, scattering the evil white. The hobbits are freed, trembling but alive. They take blades from the barrow, relics of old wars, and leave with newfound courage. The weapons will serve them in darker days to come. Chapter 9: At the Sign of the Prancing Pony. At last, they reach Bree, a town where hobbits and men live side by side. They enter the Prancing Pony, and is filled with laughter, ale, and gossip. The innkeeper, Butterbur, greets them kindly but forgetfully. As Frodo sits with his friends, a strange man watches them from a corner, tall, rugged, and silent. This is Strider, a ranger of the north. When Frodo accidentally slips on the ring during a song and vanishes before the crowd, whispers of magic and fear spread quickly. Strider reveals himself afterward, warning them that the Black Riders are near and offering his protection. Though suspicious, Frodo senses that Strider speaks truth. The group follows him, trusting instinct over fear. Chapter 10: Strider. Under Strider's guidance, the hobbits move cautiously through wild lands. He knows the ways of the wilderness, tracks, herbs, and hiding places. The nights grow longer and filled with unseen menace. Strider speaks of the riders, and of a shadow that stretches from Mordor even into these distant lands. Frodo begins to see that the ring's evil reaches far beyond what he imagined. In Strider, he finds both strength and mystery, a man burdened with his own past, yet unwavering in duty. Trust begins to grow between them, a fragile bond that will be tested many times. Chapter 11: A Knife in the Dark. Their path leads them to Weathertop, an ancient hill crowned with ruins. There they make camp, hoping for rest. But in the night, the Black Riders come. Their dark forms close in, their cries cold and terrible. Frodo, overwhelmed by terror, puts on the ring. In that shadow world, he sees the riders revealed, pale kings twisted by Sauron's will. One strikes him with a Morgul blade, and pain unlike any he's known sears through his shoulder. Strider drives the riders away with fire, but the wound festers, filled with a poison that cannot be cured by simple means. Frodo begins to fade, his strength ebbing as if the darkness is eating him from within. Chapter 12: Flight to the Ford. The company races toward Rivendell, where Elrond's healing power awaits. Each day becomes a struggle against despair. Frodo rides weak and pale, the world dimming around him. Strider leads them tirelessly, mixing healing herbs and guiding them through wild terrain. Sam's devotion never wavers. He tends to Frodo with quiet care, whispering words of encouragement. The riders pursue relentlessly. When they finally glimpse the ford of Bruinen, the river shines like salvation. But the riders are close, their horses black as night, their cries echoing like death. Frodo, clinging to consciousness, rides ahead. As the ring tempts him to surrender, he raises his hand in defiance. The riders charge, but as they reach the river, the waters rise in a sudden flood, waves shaped like white horses, conjured by Elrond's power. The riders are swept away, and Frodo falls into darkness. His journey from the Shire's peace to the edge of death is complete. The world has changed forever, and the fate of Middle-earth now rests upon the smallest of hands. The Fellowship of the Ring, Book 2. The story opens in the gentle light of Rivendell, where the air hums softly with elven song and the murmur of waterfalls. Frodo awakens from the edge of death to the comforting sight of Gandalf at his bedside. The burden he carried and the wound he suffered are both still with him, but for now he is safe. Elrond's home is a haven, a place of rest, wisdom, and healing, where old friendships are rekindled, and the shadows of the world seem to pause at its borders. But rest cannot last forever. Beyond these halls, the power of Sauron grows, and the fate of the One Ring must soon be decided. Chapter 1. Many Meetings. Frodo rises from his long sleep to find himself among friends. Gandalf, radiant and weary, explains how the Black Riders were swept away at the ford of Bruinen by the magic of Elrond and Glorfindel. Sam, overjoyed, refuses to leave Frodo's side. Soon, Frodo meets Bilbo again, older, smaller, but full of fondness. The two share a quiet moment as Bilbo gives Frodo his sword, Sting, and a shining coat of mithril, light as a feather but stronger than steel. In Rivendell's halls, Frodo sees Elrond's house filled with travelers, dwarves, elves, and men, all gathered for council. It feels like the world itself has come together in this valley to face a single, terrible question: what to do with the ring. Chapter 2. The Council of Elrond. The Great Council convenes in Elrond's courtyard under clear autumn skies. Each delegate carries news of a changing world. Elrond speaks of the ancient wars against Sauron and the forging of the Rings of Power. Gimli and Gloin bring tidings from the dwarves. Legolas reports that Gollum has escaped from elven captivity, and Boromir of Gondor tells of a dream foretelling the coming of Isildur's Bane the Ring. Gandalf reveals his capture by Saruman, who has betrayed the White Council and seeks the ring for himself. The air grows heavy as the truth emerges. The ring cannot be hidden or used. It must be destroyed. Yet only one place can undo it: the fires of Mount Doom. Silence follows, until Frodo, with quiet courage, says he will take the ring to Mordor. His voice trembles, but his choice binds the fate of all. Sam bursts from hiding, declaring he will not let Frodo go alone. Laughter breaks the tension. In that small moment, the Fellowship is born. Chapter 3. The Ring Goes South. The days that follow are filled with preparation. A company of 9 is chosen, the Fellowship of the Ring. Frodo and Sam represent the Shire. Merry and Pippin insist on coming. Gandalf leads. Aragorn and Boromir stand for men, Legolas for the elves, and Gimli for the dwarves. Together they set out from Rivendell under winter skies. The road is long and silent, broken only by the crunch of snow and the whisper of distant winds. The mountains loom ahead, impassable and cruel. As the cold deepens, they turn to climb the Redhorn Pass, but a storm unlike any natural tempest descends. Snow buries them. The mountain itself seems alive with malice. The group narrowly escapes an icy death and turns toward a darker road, through the mines of Moria. Chapter 4. A Journey in the Dark. The western doors of Moria open to Gandalf's riddle and elvish word. Darkness swallows them whole as they step inside, vast caverns echoing with ancient silence. The halls of Khazad-dûm, once the pride of dwarves, now lie cold and empty. Gimli walks in reverence, but shadows flit in the torchlight. They discover the tomb of Balin, son of Fundin, and Gandalf reads the record of his fall. The words fade into horror. They are coming. Moments later, drums echo from the deep. The Fellowship is surrounded. Goblins swarm through the dark, and from below comes a far more terrible sound, a deep roar, ancient and wrathful. The Balrog has awakened. Chapter 5. The Bridge of Khazad-dûm. The Fellowship flees through the endless halls as drums and horns thunder around them. Gandalf's voice leads them forward, his staff blazing with white fire. They reach the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, a narrow span across a bottomless chasm. There the Balrog appears, a creature of flame and shadow, vast and terrible, older than the world's memory. The heat sears their faces. Gandalf turns to face it alone. "You cannot pass," he cries. And when the Balrog steps forward, the bridge breaks beneath them both. With a last shout, "Fly, you fools!" Gandalf falls into the abyss. Silence follows. Grief consumes them as they flee into the open sunlight of Dimril Dale. They have escaped Moria, but at a cost that weighs heavier than the ring itself. Chapter 6. Lothlorien. The company moves on in sorrow, crossing rivers and forests until they reach the golden wood of Lothlorien. The very air here is different, hushed, eternal, filled with a light that does not fade. They are met by the elves of the Galadrim and brought to Kara's Galadhon, the heart of the forest. There, high among the trees, they meet Galadriel and Celeborn. Her presence is radiant and piercing. She sees into each heart. She speaks gently to their grief, offering comfort and strength. In Lothlorien, time seems to stand still. The Fellowship finds rest, but also reflection. Each member feels the burden of choice and the pull of temptation. Frodo looks upon the beauty of the elves and feels both peace and longing, as if glimpsing a world that will soon pass away. Chapter 7. The Mirror of Galadriel. One night, Galadriel invites Frodo and Sam to look into her mirror, a silver basin filled with still water. What they see is not mere reflection but vision, possible futures, and truths that haunt them. Frodo sees the Shire in flames, a shadow covering all lands, and the eye of Sauron searching endlessly. Sam sees the ruin of their home and the suffering of their people. Galadriel's voice is calm, yet her eyes are filled with unspoken sorrow. When Frodo offers her the ring, she resists the temptation, shining like a queen terrible and fair. At last, she refuses it, choosing wisdom over power. Her words linger. Even the smallest can change the course of the future. Chapter 8. Farewell to Lorien. When the time comes to leave, the elves prepare boats for the journey down the great river Anduin. Galadriel gifts each traveler something precious. To Aragorn, a green stone. To Legolas, a bough. To Sam, a box of elven earth. To Frodo, a phial of starlight, the light of Arendelle, to guide him in dark places. As they drift away, the golden woods fade behind them like a dream. The sound of elven song follows them until even that is lost to the wind. The Fellowship is stronger now, their hearts steadied by grace, but the road ahead grows darker still. Chapter 9. The Great River. The journey down the Anduin is long and uneasy. Days blend into nights beneath cliffs and stars. Tension stirs quietly among them, most of all in Boromir. The ring calls to him, whispering of Gondor's glory and his own strength. He begins to question Frodo's role, believing the ring could be wielded against Sauron rather than destroyed. Aragorn senses the growing storm within the Fellowship, but holds them together with quiet resolve. On the eastern bank, shapes move in the shadows. Gollum, the pitiful creature bound to the ring, trails them silently. The land around them narrows, and ahead looms Amon Hen, the Hill of Sight, where their fates will soon divide. Chapter 10. The Breaking of the Fellowship. At Parth Galen, the company makes camp, uncertain of the road ahead. Should they turn east to Mordor, or west to Gondor? The debate grows heavy with fear and pride. Boromir confronts Frodo, pleading for the ring, then demanding it. Frodo, terrified, slips it on and disappears. The ring's voice grows louder in his mind, urging him toward power and despair. He realizes he must go alone if he is to succeed. Yet as he boards the small boat to cross the river, Sam bursts through the trees, refusing to be left behind. He dives into the water and nearly drowns before Frodo pulls him aboard. Together, they set their course for Mordor. Meanwhile, orcs attack the camp. Boromir falls defending Merry and Pippin, pierced by many arrows but unyielding in courage. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli find him dying, his last words filled with remorse and loyalty. The fellowship is broken, but its purpose endures in the hearts of those who remain. Book 2 ends with separation, the fellowship scattered across the wilds of Middle-earth. Frodo and Sam walk alone into the east, their figures small against the vastness of the land, yet their resolve unbroken. Aragorn turns his face toward war, Legolas and Gimli beside him, while Merry and Pippin are carried into the darkness of captivity. The bonds of friendship are stretched across distance and danger, but they do not fail. For the fellowship was not merely a company of travelers, it was a promise that hope, though sundered, still endures. The great tale continues, and in the smallest of hearts burns the light that no shadow can quench.